Let's talk about the very realistic but still hypothetical class action against Airbnb. Why would Airbnb make you sign something, which you guys all just did? If you're an Airbnb host, you literally just accepted this. Why would they make you say that you would never enter into a class action lawsuit to the extent that is permissible by law, and that you will only do arbitration? And if you're not sure if it should be arbitrated, then an arbitrator will decide if you should go to arbitration? Why would Airbnb do that if there was nothing to hide? What is Airbnb hiding? I want to talk to you about a class action lawsuit potential having to do with reviews. How many of you have had bad reviews that you just can't get removed anymore? Here's the update. Airbnb has an AI in charge of review removal. And what I found lately is that it does not give a rat's anything about what you have to say. They've actually built the functionality in such a way that you cannot make a valid claim like you're supposed to. When you make a claim, it wants you to make one claim as to why a review should be removed. But here's the thing, when a guest is an absolute hot mess, they've got like 5, 6, 10 reasons why you could take that review down. So the guest could have checked in an hour early against your policies and was upset that the place was not clean. And then the guest could have misinterpreted something you said as a racial slur, so they flew off the handle. And then they threw a party. And then they wanted a refund, and they implied that if you didn't give them a refund, that they would give you a bad review. And the person who booked never even stayed. There could be 6 reasons. This happens all the time, but they will only let you make one claim, one reason, in the format that they give you, and then they'll make you give one appeal again, same format. So you get 2 swings of a bat, and that's it. This will lead to a class action lawsuit, and let me tell you why. Airbnb is supposed to protect you as a host from bad guests. They're supposed to give you the opportunity to defend yourself, to lay claims, stuff like that. And hey, also Speedy Gonzalez got banned and they never told him why. This is another thing that a class action lawsuit can be brought for. So thank you for bringing that up, Speedy. When somebody enforces policies and does not tell you why for you to have a chance to go to arbitration or whatever, that is technically arguably a violation of your consumer protection rights. And here's the thing, you as a host still get consumer protection rights. And Airbnb probably doesn't want you to know that. So the way that this could go, I want to show you how you can remove bad reviews in the form of going towards a class action lawsuit. This is the kind of stuff that could get me banned. I'm going to be very careful how I say my next few sentences. This is going to be so bad. If you don't hear from me again, you'll know who threw my body in the river. All right. We're going to take advantage of Airbnb's build out. We're going to abuse the system here. You're going to have multiple reasons that a review could get removed. And I want you to save the best for last. I want you to save the best and not even use it. We're going to use it in arbitration. You can say blank claim. I believe that the guest was this reason wrong. And you file your removal argument. And they will deny you and do something stupid because it's an AI. And then you're going to try again for another reason. And they're going to deny you again. Those are the only 2 attempts that you get to remove the review. But you have another really solid good reason. You're going to save that. And you're going to file arbitration. And you're going to send them an arbitration notice saying that this review needs to be removed. And because Airbnb did not protect me from this and is forcing me to go to arbitration, I am also seeking relief for the money it's costing me to file arbitration, because you have to spend money on it. But you're going to, in your claim, you're going to seek to be made whole. You're going to seek, you could call it relief, for the removal of the review. For now, all of the reasons, including this new real reason, and you're seeking money from Airbnb to pay you back for the fact that you had to take it to arbitration without having to. Airbnb should have let you do this without arbitration, so the fact that they're forcing you to waste good money, you're going to sue them for that via arbitration. And where this can go to a class action lawsuit is if multiple hosts decide that this new process of review removal is in violation of their consumer protection rights, or that it is imbalanced and unfair. There's all sorts of other reasons why you can bypass class action lawsuits, by the way, guys. Bypass the class action waiver. Airbnb made us sign a class action waiver, and we can bypass it if it's a violation of consumer protection rights, if they're doing some anti-competition practices. There's all sorts of other things. California will even let you sue on behalf of the state, so that way it bypasses your waiver. By the way, so California, this could be you. And then you can go to Airbnb and say, we can argue a class action lawsuit because you're failing to protect us as a consumer. So Airbnb's new review removal policy could arguably just in its anatomy be argued as a violation of consumer protection rights. And so, because they would be in hot water, they don't want that to happen. So all of us who file an arbitration claim to review or to remove a review because Airbnb gave us a shitty way of doing it, they most likely, in order to keep themselves out of trouble, will just take all of these reviews that we want removed and just award them to us and give us our money. Because if they don't, then all of these hosts that get denied again in arbitration can go straight to a class action lawsuit, claiming that Airbnb bullied them around. I'm still studying all of Airbnb's new terms of service, but Airbnb, let's greater picture, let's back out for those of you still kind of paying attention here. Airbnb's got a solid 10, like a good solid 10 erroneous terms of service. We talked about this before, non-discrimination terms, right? Airbnb back in the day made this non-discrimination policy where we cannot discriminate for all sorts of reasons, but it goes too far. You cannot discriminate against a local. And locals throw parties. We just had a deal over here. Somebody just threw a party. We had to block it. And in El Paso, this just happened last week. El Paso, ICE, sorry to get political, but ICE just raided an Airbnb property because the host called in believing that they were smuggling migrants through his Airbnb property. They used him as a stash house, and it was actually true. And the ICE raided and found like 13 people being stored away in the rooms, like that this migrant human trafficking operation used as Airbnb. And we do not have the ability to screen effectively to prevent parties in human trafficking, right? Because their anti-discrimination policy prevents us from doing that, does it not? And then further, Airbnb's review removal policy, we covered that. Airbnb's arbitration policy, we just covered that again. Airbnb's ground rules for hosts and non-circumvention policy, where Airbnb is constantly using these AIs to like basically stuff every claim you have, where all they're really looking for, and we can get deep into this, is they're looking for the hosts that can't hack it, and they're removing hosts and removing listings so that way they can clean house. And let's back out and look at this for what it is, because Airbnb is in a tough spot. This is what's going on. Airbnb is losing the war against hotels because hotels have all this money for advertising to claim that Airbnb hosts are bad, that we're inconsistent, that we're unclean, whatever. And Airbnb has this truth of industry, which is that there will always be new hosts. There will not always be new customers. Let me tell you that again. Let's back it out. There will always be new hosts, but there won't always be new customers because the moment you lose a customer, you lose it. And so as they grind through new users, if a new user is unhappy, they'll leave the platform and they'll go to the competitors. Airbnb cares more about not losing guests off the back of their wagon than they care about not losing hosts, because this is a business opportunity. There will always be enterprising people that get in. And if Airbnb keeps kicking users off the platform for being bad hosts, then all the new hosts that come on board will be indoctrinated into this new wave of expectation, right? There are hosts from 10 years ago that are complaining in Facebook groups talking about how this used to be easy. And what I will say to you guys is, well, you have to adapt, because some first year isn't going to know that this is supposed to be hard. So they'll kick you off the back of the wagon and they'll start their Airbnb business and they will run. And if Airbnb has to continually grind out hosts to improve their core quality of product in order to compete against hotels, they're happy to do that. And they would rather proactively kick speculative hosts off the platform, even violating their consumer protection rights, in order to prevent guests from leaving because they were mad at a host. So in this case, if you're getting removed by Airbnb really quickly for your, like they claim that you're circumventing, or they claim that you have some weird relationship with some other person that got banned, or they think that you did something wrong to a guest and they remove you, Airbnb actually threatened in one of my claims like 4 days ago. They said, this is your final warning anymore and we will remove you from the platform, because I was disagreeing with an Airbnb rep and they said it to my face in the chat. Like, while I'm disagreeing with this evidence that somebody claimed that a listing was double booked, right? They're like, it was double booked. I couldn't. And the lady wanted to cancel 4 days before arrival. And so we didn't let her cancel. And so she claimed that she arrived, but claimed it was double booked and made up evidence that it was double booked. And the Airbnb representative, this pissed me off so bad. They're like, this is your final warning. We will remove you from the platform or the hosting platform or something. The guy threatened me when I was disagreeing with his evidence that if I disagreed anymore, he would remove me from the platform. So I'm like, what's your name and employee number? He gave me his name, but he wouldn't give me his employee number, but I screenshotted that. Because if Airbnb ever removes me from the platform, I'll say, you guys just try to remove me because I disagreed with manufactured evidence. So if it happens to you guys and you get removed from Airbnb, you could argue it's a violation of your consumer protection rights. And I just found out you do not have to have a lot of hosts to file a class action lawsuit, just so you know. So you could have just one person claim that their consumer protection rights were invalid. But to bring it back full circle, I think that Airbnb doesn't want a class action lawsuit. They're already in a couple, and they're making us all sign away our ability to do so. But there is a back-end way that we still have the right to where we're allowed, which is violation of consumer protections rights. Ta-da, magic. And because Airbnb knows potentially that their review removal policy is of just a breach of consumer protections rights right off the bat because they're not giving us due process, I think that in every arbitration claim we bring, if we do it the sneaky way like I just talked about, they will weigh the balance, like the benefits and the expenses, and go, you know what, let's just remove it and give them their $300 back. I think they're going to do this at scale because they've built something that they cannot back out from. They actually screwed their ability to navigate this up, and it will cost them money through the process. So I will give you a full breakdown of Airbnb's April 17th policies here soon, but it's a lot to go through. I promise you it's a mess. But thanks for watching this. Happy Easter, my friends. And once again, let's celebrate 300,000 subscribers. Love you guys, and I will see you on the other side.